of the Committee on Labor, Employment, and Human Resource Development, joint with the Committees on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, Ways and Means, and Finance is now called to order. Thank you very much, all our colleagues and resource persons who are joining us today. We have two cluster bills in our agenda: the proposed measures on the Caregivers Welfare Act and the measures on the Reservist Employment Act. We will also tackle today the privileged speech delivered by Senator Raffy Tulfo last November 22 regarding the scheme against cashiers of Landmark Store. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Bongo, who is with us online. Now, with the presence of Senator Bongo, I now declare the presence of a quorum. Okay, let's start. The two cluster bills in our agenda today seeks to give protection and ensure the welfare of two important sectors of our society and economy: the caregivers and the reservists. There are 6 measures proposing the Caregivers Welfare Act pending before this committee, and these are Senate Bill number 828, authored by Senator Legarda; Senate Bill number 1002, authored by Senator Sani Angara; Senate Bill number 1396, authored by Senator Francis Tolentino; Senate Bill 1430, authored by Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., Senate Bill number 1440, authored by this representation, and House Bill number 227, which was passed on third reading by the House of Representatives on November 15, 2022. Briefly, caregivers perform a noble job as stewards of the safety, health, welfare, and life of our loved ones. From toddlers to the elderly, they carry out their duties not only for the mere performance of it, but they do it with dedication, commitment, affection, and love. Katulad ng ating mga kasambahay, buong puso ang kanilang paglilingkod sa ating mga pamilya, kaya't kadalasan ay nagiging mahalagang bahagi na din sila ng ating buhay. Bukod dito, ang kanilang kaalaman at kakayahan ay hindi matatawaran sapagkat masusing pagsasanay ang kanilang pinagdadaanan upang makakuha ng certification. The TESDA offers training and certification for caregivers, referred to as Caregiving National Certification 2. Based to its training regulations, a caregiver who finishes the training will be competent to provide care and support to infant or toddler, child, elderly, and people with special needs. This is attained by attending a total of 786 hours of training, 750 hours for core competencies, 18 hours for basic competencies, and 18 hours for common competencies. According to the records of the Department of Labor, gathered by its Bureau of Local Employment from the Public Employment Service offices in different local government units nationwide, there was a rise in the demand for home-based caregivers in the country in 2021 because of the continuous threat of COVID-19. With this increasing demand comes increasing need to provide appropriate legal framework to protect them. It is for these reasons that we are putting on the table for discussion today, Caregivers Welfare Act. Meanwhile, there are 3 bills regarding the proposed Reservist Employment Act, namely Senate Bill number 561, authored by Senator Joel Villanueva, Senate Bill number 1228, authored by this representation, and Senate Bill number 1556, authored by Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. Mahalagang bigyan ng ating pamahalaan ng karampatang proteksyon sa kanilang mga trabaho ang mga reservists. They are the ones who will provide the base for expansion of the armed forces of the Philippines in the event of war, invasion, or rebellion, to assist in relief and rescue during disasters or calamities, to assist in socio-economic development, and to assist in the operation and maintenance of essential government and private utilities in the furtherance of overall mission. This is their mandate under Republic Act 7077, otherwise known as the Citizen Armed Forces or Armed Forces of the Philippines Reservist Act. Nakakatuwa pong malaman na dumadami na din na sumasailalim sa pagsasanay upang maging bahagi ng ating reserve force. There are currently 1.2 million members of the reserve force from all over the country. Ang aking kapatid na si Colonel Jude at ang aking anak na si Private Sergeant Janela are proud members of the Philippine Air Force Reserve Corps. May pahabol pa. Mahaba ito. Okay. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Raffy Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, for an orderly discussion, we will start with the Caregivers Welfare Act. Next will be the Reservist Employment Act. The last topic for discussion is the privileged speech of Senator Tulfo regarding concerns of the cashiers of Land Bank. Okay, to begin the deliberation on the bills, let us proceed to our discussion of the Caregivers Welfare Act. The measures pending before the committee seeks to institute policies that will lead to the development of competent caregivers and, more importantly, to ensure their decent employment wherein they are protected from abuse, harassment, violence, and economic exploitation. I filed a similar bill back in the 16th Congress, and I am confident that through your support, we'll be able to pass this into law this 19th Congress. For an orderly discussion, we will give our resource persons 3 minutes each to give us a summary of their position regarding the measure or make a presentation. Besides, the position papers that they have submitted or will be submitting are made available to all the members of the committee. We will start with the government agencies and then proceed to private organizations thereafter. Thereafter, our colleagues can propound questions to our resource persons. May I instruct the Secretary, the COMSEC, to please acknowledge our guests for today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to our Vice Chairman, and also the members who are online. Invited resource persons for today's committee hearing are the following. On the matter of the Caregivers Welfare Act, we have from the Department of Labor and Employment, Undersecretary Felipe Egargo Jr., together with Assistant Secretary Leonard Constantine Serrano, together with Mr. Nick Bon, who is the Director for the Bureau of Local Employment, and our DLLO for the Senate, Ms. Jean Orsolino. Our representatives from the Department of Labor will also be representing the department in the matter regarding the Reservist Act and the privileged speech of our Vice Chairman. From the Department of Migrant Workers, we have Undersecretary Hans Leo Kakdak, together with Mr. Paul Kabugao. From the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, we have Attorney Raymart John Kiambao. Deputy Director General Tonisito Umali is still on the road. From the private organizations, we have Mr. Michael Pereira Gabilo, who is the National President of the Philippine Physical Therapy Association, and Mr. Christian Leco, the President of the Association of Private Duty Nurse Practitioners Philippines Incorporated. We already have on also Deputy Director General Tonisito Umali from the TESDA. On the matter of Employment Rights of Reservist Act, from the Department of Finance, Attorney Michael Aaron Gakutan, the Division Chief of the Legislative Liaison Office. From the Department of National Defense, Undersecretary Ignacio Madriaga, together with Assistant Secretary Eric Lawrence D., Attorney R.J. Lim, and Mr. Jumel Estranero. From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, we have Captain Cheryl Mary Villarta Igay, the Legal Officer of JAGS, together with Captain John S. De Villa, Brigadier General Virgilio de Guzman, and Lieutenant Colonel Fernando Payapaya, and Colonel Rosel Salvosa. On the matter of the privileged speech of Senator Tulfo, we have the Cashiers, led by Ms. Erica Joy Buendicho, the former cashier of the Landmark Store in Makati, Ms. Georgia Bajo, former cashier, the Landmark Store Makati, Ms. Noeline Idiola, former cashier, the landmark store Nuvali, and Ms. Regina Lumerio, former cashier, the landmark store Nuvali. For the record, Mr. Chairman, the following government agencies submitted their position papers on the Caregivers Welfare Act, the National Labor Relations Commission, together with the Department of Labor and Employment. On the matter of the Employment Rights and of Reservist Act, the Department of Labor and Employment also has submitted its position paper. And on the matter of the Caregivers Welfare Act, the United Philippine Manpower Agencies for Israel Association also has submitted its position papers. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Comsec. Before we start, I would like to give the floor to our Vice Chair of the Committee on Labor, Senator Tulfo, for his opening statements.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, and to my dear colleagues. Time and again, I've emphasized, and I will never get tired of emphasizing, that one of my primary missions in joining this august body called the Senate is to protect, uphold, and preserve the rights of the average Filipino worker. Ang ating pong mga manggagawang Pilipino, maliban sa ating mga OFWs, ang numero uno po sa aking puso. Kung kaya't ako po ay handang ipaglaban at ipagtanggol ang kanilang mga karapatan at pangangailangan. Wala rin po tayong pinipili. Mag-isa man o isang daan ang inapi ng kanilang mga employer kahit saan at anumang oras tayo po'y handang tumulong. Kaya naman lumapit po ang isang cashier sa akin ng katrabaho sa landmark upang isumbong ang pangapis sa kanya. Hindi ako nag-atubili na siya'y pakinggan at tulungan. Nung una akala natin isang isolated case lamang ito. But the moment we gave Erica the opportunity to be heard, and her voice was made known loud and clear, we were surprised as we found out that there were more victims. At isa-isa na silang lumapit sa atin para ipaalam ang kanilang masaklap na karanasan. Given the benefit of the doubt, who would have thought that a well-known retail establishment like Landmark Department Store would be a haven for unfair labor practices and abuses, much more naging lungga po ng nakawan, pagnanakaw ng isang employer sa kanyang mga employee. The records of the Philippine Statistics Authority on October 2022, there are about 47 employed Filipinos, out of which approximately 600,000 are employed in wholesale and retail trade. Kung tutuman ang kwento ng mga kahera ng Landmark, ano tayo nakakasiguro na hindi talamak ang ganitong pang-abuso sa iba't ibang department stores? Ilan pa kaya sa halos 600,000 na manggagawa sa retail establishments ang nakararanas ng mga ganitong pang-abuso? Why is it that the evident shortcomings of an institution such as Landmark, particularly its failure to adopt a proper system of monitoring transactions and accounting procedures, were taken against these poor employees to their extreme damage and prejudice? Ang masaklap pa dito, karamihan sa kanilang inabuso ay mga kakapasok pa lang sa trabaho na trainees o dili kaya'y mga newbies na parabang they even took advantage of their precarious employment status. Landmark's actuations were clearly violative of our labor laws and are in fact criminal in nature. Pero bakit ang mga pobreng empleyado pa ngayon ang mapipilitang magsampa ng kaso sa kanila at gagastos samantalang binawian na sila ng sweldo? It is a disturbing situation, Mr. Chair. Hence my privileged speech. Thus, in this coming hearing, I earnestly hope that we can, number one, find solutions to strengthen government institutions such as DOLE and NLRC in strictly enforcing our labor laws. Number two, harmonize relevant legislation to further protect workers from abuses and to make grievance procedure less costly, more effective, and swifter. And number three, urgently modify working policies and practices to ensure compliance with the labor code. And as regards to the two proposed bills, the Caregivers Welfare Act and the Reservist Employment Rights Act, I express my full support to the passage of these two equally important pieces of legislation. It is high time that we enact a law to institutionalize the rights and privilege of our caregivers. Kahit sa ang lupalop na mundo, kilala favored ang ating mga caregivers. Pero dito sa ating bansa, kadalasan sa kanila hindi covered ng employment contract at trato lamang sa kanila ay mga freelancers or independent contractors. It's about time that we define their rights and grant them security, tenure, promote their welfare, and accord them the same benefits mandatory given to other employees under the law. Finally, I'm all for the enactment of a law that will define, protect, and uphold the rights of our reservists. Dapat lamang nabigyan sila ng security of tenure, tamang pasweldo at benepisyo, proteksyonan laban sa diskriminasyon, at magkaroon ng angkop na programa para sa kanilang reintegration. Hindi lamang dugo at pawis ang kanilang isinusugal sa bayan, kundi ang kanilang mismong buhay ang kanilang itinataya. Kaya naman, ang bill na ito ay dapat ipasa natin at maipasa natin sa lalo't madaling panahon. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Tulfo, for your very, very passionate opening statement. And I would also like to associate myself with your opening statement. Is Senator Bongo online? Does he have an opening statement? Wala na? Huh? Okay. While waiting for Senator Bongo, maybe our resource persons would want to give their opening statement. Yusek Kakdak, do you have any?
Yes po, sir. Sandali lang po, sir. Okay. Magandang hapon po, mga mahal na senador.
You can remove your face mask.
Sorry
Wala
po.
na yatang COVID dito.
Senator Jinggoy, Senator Estrada, Senator Tulfo, and members of this August Committee, colleagues in government. Magandang hapon din po. Mr. Chair, there's no question na we fully support yung pong mga proposed bills to protect our caregivers, yung pong pangangalaga sa mga nag-aalaga. Yan po ang nakikita namin. Natatanaw po namin sa mga bills ang mga salient features na sa tingin po namin magbibigay ng sapat na proteksyon, mataas na proteksyon, tulad ng hindi pagbayad ng placement fee, pagkakaroon ng model employment contract, which includes institutionalizing the work that caregivers are expected to perform, granting service incentive leaves common to all private sector employees as part of the benefits of caregivers, along with other applicable conditions of work, recognizing and creating significant duties for private employment agencies who are tasked with upholding the rights of caregivers under the proposed law. Mr. Chair, tinatanaw din po namin na sumasalamin itong inyong mga panukalang batas sa kasalukuyang karanasan po natin, yung agreement na pinirmahan ni Pangulong Duterte at ni Prime Minister na uli, Benjamin Netanyahu ng Israel noong 2019, na meron pong mga nakatalagang karapatan at responsibilidad yung mga caregivers nating pinapadala through a government-to-government arrangement to Israel. Meron pong well-defined roles ang private employment agencies, katulad din po sa mga panukalang batas. Meron pong close coordination ng mga government agencies involved, katulad ating POEA at DMW dito sa Pilipinas, at yun namang immigration authorities sa Israel. At syempre po, walang placement fees na binabayaran ng ating mga mahal na caregivers. So kung lalagumin po namin, mga mahal na senador, Mr. Chair, knowing your track record, Mr. Chair and Mr. Vice Chair, sa pangangalaga ng OFWs, nakahanda po kami na sinusuportahan po namin at nakahanda po pa kaming tumulong sa paglinang kung kinakailangan ng mga panukalang batas na ito. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Maraming salamat, Yusek Hans. Any of you who wishes to give a opening statement? Yusek Igargo.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman. Sa ating kagalang-galang na chairman ng Committee on Labor and Employment, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, sa ating Vice Chairman, Senator Raffy Tulfo. Magandang sa lahat po ng nandito ngayon at naimbitahan sa committee hearing na ito. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Kami po sa Department of Labor and Employment ay nakikiisa at sumusuporta po sa bill na isinusulong ng ating mahal na chairperson, Senator Jingo Estrada. Katulad ng kasambahay, itong Caregiver Act po ay napapanahon at parang kailangan na sa ating bansa para maprotektahan natin ang ating mga caregivers. Dito lang hinihingian lang kami ng comment dito. Mayroon lang kaming kaunting dapat liwanagin kasi po ang lalo na sa pamamagitan ng inspection. Ang dalawa po kasi ang ating caregivers, isa yung nagtatrabaho sa household at saka isa po ang nagtatrabaho sa mga caregiver facilities. Sa inspection po, may hirapan tayo mag-conduct ng actual inspection katulad ng ordinary routine inspection sa household. Sa caregiver facilities, mas madali po at kasi akyatin lang natin ang establishment. Doon naman sa joint and several liability ng employer, both the indirect ang employment, both the agency as well as the employer ay solidary liable dito sa ating batas na ito. And doon naman sa mediation conciliation mechanism, kung mayroong problema ang may breach sa employment, the caregiver can file a case before the NLRC, and if no settlement is reached before the mediation mechanism, then they can elevate the case to the NLRC. So far, yun lang po ang mga nakikita namin na kaunting mailalagay natin as fine-tuning po doon sa ating batas. Salamat po.
Thank you. Any other resource person who wishes to give his opening statement?
Mr. Chair, pwede ako makatanong doon sa
Secretary Tulfo.
kay Yusek Ricardo.
Opo.
Tama po kayo, doon sa institution, madali pong akyatin, madaling pupuntahan. So maobligaw silang to open their doors para for inspection. Doon sa mga household, mahirap nga po yan. Hindi ko alam kung anong procedure that you have to observe, you have to take before you can get into a house na meron pong inaalagaan na matanda na may sakit. Pero how would you know na yung nasa bahay ay kasambahay lang o siya ay specialized caregiver na nag-aalaga na may sakit? Paano po na-determine na yun?
Dito po sa isusulong na batas ng ating mahal na senador, doon po malalaman natin kung anong. Opo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yusek Kumali, you have, can we get your position on this matter?
Mr. Chair, magandang hapon po muli. Chair Senator Jingoy Estrada, Senator Raffy Tulfo, and all the honorable senators who are joining virtually right now, to our colleagues in government. Magandang hapon po. We fully support all the measures, Mr. Chair, seeking to establish or institute policies for the protection and welfare of caregivers in the practice of their profession, Mr. Chair. All the 5 Senate bills are substantially identical, Mr. Chair. And if we may just share, Mr. Chair, that TESDA right now, as Mr. Chair, 4 training regulations with NC2 possible national certification 2 that may be received by our completers. So we have a training regulation for caregiving newborn to preschooler, caregiving grade schooler to adolescent, caregiving for the elderly, and caregiving for those clients or patients with special needs. Bago po ito nangyari, Mr. Chair, meron lamang po tayong isang training regulation, Senator Jinggoy, Senator Raffy, para po sa caregiving, at ginawa po na ngayon nating 4 to purposively cater with special competencies and skills. We equip our trainees dun nga po sa grupo na nabanggit po natin. For, if I may also share, Mr. Chair, for the year 2021, we have more or less 19,905 assessed trainees on caregiving, and out of that number, more or less 18,724 nationwide, Mr. Chair, were certified. Specific comments, Mr. Chair, kaunting kung maibabahagi lamang po to put on record, yung definition po siguro ng caregiver sa Section 3, Mr. Chair, subject to style, because it talks about here caregiver as referring to a graduate of a caregiving course from an accredited training institution that is recognized by the government. Okay po yun, Mr. Chair. I'm now reading Section 3A of the various Senate measures, Mr. Chair. Pero yung susunod na bahagi po, Mr. Chair, or is certified competent by that same institution. Subject to style, Mr. Chair, we just would like to manifest that not all accredited institutions are accredited to give assessment. So baka ma-capture lamang po, Chair, na yung mga na-accredit din bilang assessment centers, or not only by that institution but also by TESDA, ma-capture lamang po sa definition na ito. At dun po sa Section 3B, Mr. Chair, baka pwede pong idagdag dun sa client. It may refer not only to a dependent infant, child, or adult, but also elderly. Yun lamang po, Mr. Chair, and we will submit a separate written position paper capturing what we just mentioned. Maraming pong salamat, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you, Yusek. How many training centers are accredited by the TESDA or the DOLE?
Sir,
With regard to this with regard to the caregivers.
okay, Mr. Chair, we have more or less 5,000 public and private TVIs, Mr. Chair, and as to whether which of these TVIs are specifically offering caregiving course, Mr. Chair, I beg for your indulgence. We have to check because, Mr. Chair, just like what this representation just manifested, nag-migrate po tayo ngayon, Mr. Chair, mula po dun sa dating isang TR lamang po, dun po sa 4. We will double check and within 3 days, Mr. Chair, we will submit it to this honorable committee, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
the information
Thank you, Yusek.
requested.
Thank you, Yusek Umali. Mr. Michael Pereira Gabilo? Is he here? You want to, may I have your position?
Yeah,
with
good afternoon
regard to
po, honorable senators. We are from the Philippine Physical Therapy Association, and we, of course, support the bills that are currently filed now. We look at the importance of caregivers because we, after the physical therapy session, we do collaborate with our with the caregivers so that there will be continuity of the exercises that we are doing. Okay, sorry. So that we are what we are doing in the clinics. So we support the bills filed. However, we would like to emphasize a particular portion here, which is Section 6, letter D. It's just more of the rephrasing the first part of the statement there, that instead of the word help, might as well use the term assist. Assist with client, with simple, and we would like to include safe. Because there are simple exercises done in the clinics, however, it has to be ensured that these are safe, that can be translated their respective homes or nursing facilities. So simple and safe exercises which instructed or by a licensed physical therapist.
You're referring to section 6
Letter D, sir.
D.
D as in Delta.
Assist clients
Yes, sir.
instead of help.
Yeah, assist because we want to promote independence also to our patients or to our clients. So assist with clients with simple and safe.
And
Safe.
safe.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. And we are going to submit our formal
Yes,
position statement on this. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Christian Leco. Nandito ba siya?
Yes, sir. Right,
Done.
sir.
Okay. May I know your position with regard to this bill?
Yes, Mr. Chair, good afternoon po. My name is Mr. Christian Leco. I'm the president of the Association of Private Duty Nurse Practitioners Philippines. It's a 47-year-old association, sir. So while we are very happy for our caregiver friends sa industry, we're closely working with them actually. A point of clarification lang the difference. Because I can understand it could be interchanged with nurses and the caregiver, the word caregiving. Point of clarification lang, Mr. Chair. It may not be, while reading the matrix, may not be applicable to us, although we do some home care on our own. All right, but on section 3, I would like to direct your attention on section 3. The caregiver refers to a person who has has undergone the caregiving course with a accredited training institution, while we, of course, are a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, a 4-year course already. And that's the first reason. Second reason being, our duties or our work is more technical, although we do personal care likened to a caregiver, but we are more technical in the hospital, sir. Like mga naka-ventilator, gusto nila may personal nurse. Even though nasa hospital sila, andun kami. We also have kidney transplant nurses na minsan inuuwi sa bahay for a week, but never that last for a year or that would require, of course, maganda po pakinggan yung 13-month benefits and SSS and everything. But we're more technical in a sense na per job basis, not on a in basis rather, na that would require a year contract perhaps. So the last would be we are a licensed professional, much like doctors and dentists, no? So wherever we're paid a particular fee, we give out official receipts bearing our name. So I'm here to just clarify that there's a difference between the caregivers and the private duty nurses, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Christian.
Yes, sir.
Any other resort? I would like to acknowledge the presence of the members of the NLRC, Commissioner Mary Ann Plata Daitia. How do you pronounce your last name? Daitia.
Yes.
Okay. And Commissioner Nicolas. Okay. Wala ka na tanong, boss. Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes.
So,
Ms. Mila Flor Valdez.
yes,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman.
Were you the one who gave
Yes. Yes, Senator.
a briefer?
Position
paper?
Yes.
Okay.
Through our member, Miss Josette, the caregiver of your mother, Senator.
My mother or my father?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
She is our member, Senator.
Yes.
So, my name is Mila Flor L. Valdez. I am the founding president of Caregivers of the Philippines Association. We are strongly sinusupport yung bill ni Senator Estrada since kasi noong 2014, nagpasa rin si Senator Estrada ng kanyang bill yung SNB 2261. So, nagpapasalamat po kami dahil siya na ngayon yung ating Committee on Labor. So, yung aming pong stand po dito sa inyo pong propose po, Mr. Chairman and Sir Raffy. So, ang aming pong meron lang po kaming certain provisions na ino-oppose po yung Section 3, Definition of Terms, client refers to a dependent infant, child, or adult. So as mentioned by Sir Deputy Director General Umali po, totoo po yung sinabi po niya na yung caregiving NC2 ay na-change na po ngayon. Nagkaroon po ng, though hindi pa po nasasabi ng TESDA kung migration po talaga yung caregiving doon sa 4 TRs po na minention po kanina ni Director Umali. So doon po sa replace po na ma-replace po sana yung opposed section 3 po namin na yung client refers to newborn, infant, toddlers, preschoolers, school children, adolescent, elderly, and people with special needs para sa ganun po ay magamit po yung nandoon po doon sa TR po ng caregiving, 4 TRs po ng caregiving. Then we oppose also the section 5 of pre-employment requirements because it is important na ma-add po doon yung National Certificate NC2. Dahil po wala po doon sa section 5, ang nakalagay po lang sa section 5 is section 5. Ang nakalagay po kasi na requirements doon sa section 5 is only the NBI, the medical certificate, the training certificate, and 4 lang po nakalagay doon. So ang idadagdag po doon sa letter D po sana ay yung National Certificate NC2 because the caregivers will not go abroad without the National Certificate NC2. Then we have also na-oppose din po namin yung section 6, provide some basic health related to services such as checking the client's pulse rate, temperature, and respiration rate. So ang idadagdag po sana po doon ay yung check the client's vital signs po. That includes the temperature, pulse rate, respiration rate, blood pressure, and the oxygen saturation po. So we passed it already, our position paper po sa inyo po, Senator, through Ms. Josette. So thank you po very much. That's all po. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valdez. Anyway, at this juncture, maybe Yusek Umali can answer a few questions. Okay, we are aware that there are some kasambahays who are given strictly caregiving tasks. And in order for us to properly distinguish them from actual caregivers, we have provided that caregivers refers to a graduate of a caregiver course from an accredited training institution that is recognized by the government or those that are certified competent by that same institution and renders caregiving services as stipulated in Section 6 of this Act. So is completion of a caregiving course from the TESDA or any other accredited training institutions a requirement to be recognized as a caregiver?
Mr. Chair, sa ngayon po, dahil wala pong batas na nagmamandato na para po magamit yung titulong caregiver ay kailangan nakapagkompleto po sila ng kurso o qualification, yun po yung tawag ng TESDA for the course on caregiving. Wala pong ganong requirement sa ngayon. Pwede po nating sabihin, Mr. Chair. So caregiver is being used in a very general sense so long as we are providing care assistance to the clients mentioned po by Ma'am Valdez. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, therefore, Mr. Chair, if that is the intention po ng batas, Mr. Chair, what Ms. Valdez mentioned, making a national certification or NC2 being a requirement before being employed as a caregiver will make sense po, Mr. Chair. Kung gusto po natin na meron po silang some form of certification, Mr. Chair. Point number 3, Mr. Chair, ang kaibahan po nito, parang natanong po kanina, sa nursing ay yung mga competencies or skills with which we equip our trainees are medyo nakatukoy lamang po, if I may be allowed to read, Mr. Chair, the trainee should be able to have the skill and competency to maintain a healthy and safe environment, ability to respond to basic emergency, ability to render first aid, clean living room, dining room, bedrooms, wash and iron clothes, prepare hot and cold meals, among others, Mr. Chair, na medyo hindi po ito yung competencies na inaasahan natin kapag nurse na po yung tawag. So yun po yung ilan po sa kaibahan. At ang average hours, number of hours, Mr. Chair, that we are teaching our trainees ay nasa humigit kumulang 800 oras po. 786 to 800 hours. So more or less nasa a little more than 100, more or less 100 days po ito na training para maging caregiver. Sa nursing po ay 4 na taon at mayroon pong license na dapat po silang ipasa, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Valdez, ilan ba meron kayo idea kung ilan yung mga caregivers dito sa ating bansa?
With regards to our petition through online po, kasi
That is
yung,
not accurate.
yes, inaccurate po, Senator. Pero ang mas maganda po siguro na yung TESDA po mismo ang magsasagot po dyan kung sino po yung mga, yung mga complete na registered caregivers po. As of now po kasi, ang kumukuha po ng mga registered trainees po, yung mga TVIs po, yung nakumukuha na po ng assessment po.
So sa datos mo, ilan ang
Ay, more or less mga 10,000 more or less.
Lang?
More, yes, mula pa po noong nag-start po yung caregiving po natin, which is start in 2007 po, yung caregiving NC2 po natin kasi, nag-start na po ng 2007 until now po. So, kaya nagkaroon po ng, nag-offer po ng bagong program ang TESDA, yung training regulations na 4 po, para sa ganun, kasi 2007, it's almost 15 years po yung caregiving NC2. So, kailangan po ma-uplift po yung mga workloads po ng ating caregivers. Kasi po, yung ating mga caregivers, sa ngayon, pag pumupunta po sa ibang bansa, as of me, Senator, naging caregiver po ako sa ibang bansa. So, bali all around din po, parang katulong din po ako doon sa ibang bansa. Kaya yung TR po natin na bago ngayon, ay magkaroon po ng mas lighter po na workload po ng ating mga caregivers po, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Raffy.
Ito medyo off topic, Senator Chairman, Senator Jinggoy. Nakita ko kasi si Mr. Michael Gabilo sa harap ko halos, National President of Philippine Physical Therapy Association. Ang tanong ko po, napansin ko, lahat ng mga bagong graduate ng PT at nagtitraining sa mga ospital, sa mga centers, PT centers, wala silang sweldo. Sila pa po yung nagbabayad para sila makapagtrabaho doon. In some cases, sila po yung ginagasgas, hindi sila binabayaran, tapos ginagasgas, ginagawang parang katulong. Tama ho ba, di ba? At in some cases, sila po yung napapagalitan, para bang kasalanan pa nila kasi sila nag-trainee doon, sila pang may utang na loob sa ospital. I would even mention St. Luke's Hospital at iba pang mga centers dyan, FU. So bakit po pumapayag kayo? Ba't hindi nyo pinaglalaban sa DOLE o sa ating pamalaan na huwag naman parang kinakawawa ang mga miyembro ninyo, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Senator. We have already made some communications. Sorry. We have made some communications already with the Department of Labor and Employment pre-pandemic about this volunteer acts or volunteerism na ginagawa po ng ibang ibang PTs sa iba't ibang hospitals, no? Kasi po ang purpose po nun kasi ng iba, sir, that's their way to somehow get a employment parang certification that they can be that they can use and present this for employment abroad. So medyo may pumapayag po talaga ng ganun na magvo-volunteer acts na lang po sila just to similar with nursing profession. But definitely sir, we have already raised that issue to our to the Department of Labor and Employment.
Sorry po sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. Kasi ang pagkakalam ko at nakausap ko po ilang mga therapist na pag mag-apply ka sa ospital para maging PT, mag-umpisa ka sa trainee.
Yes,
Hindi
sir.
yung, I'm not talking about going
Okay.
abroad. Before you would even be accepted as a member of the hospital staff as PT,
Yes, sir.
you have to undergo training period.
Yeah.
At yung training period na yon, magbabayad ka.
Yeah.
Ikaw magpapasweldo sa ospital versus dapat ospital nagpapasweldo sa'yo kahit na konti man lang, kahit na papamasay, kahit pang merienda man lang sana. 'Di ba? Kasi nagpagod ka rin eh.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
Sir,
Bakit kayo pumapayag na kayo ang nagpapasweldo sa mga ospital na ito at sa mga physical therapy centers na ito? Sana man lang kahit konti, meron pa konsuelo di bobo, ika nga. Bakit wala?
Sir, sa pagkakaintindi ko po, yung mga ganyan pong situation po, yan po ay part of their academic requirements. Yung mga nagtitraining po na nagbabayad po, that is part of the internship program. At talaga pong nakasulat naman po yan sa mga CHED memorandum order that there is an affiliation fee na binabayad po sa mga medyo hindi lang po ako familiar exactly do sa mga stories po na ganun po.
So kung ganun pala Mr. Chair, medyo yaman natin tong mga patakaran ito sa CHED kasi kawawa nga naman po, nag-aral sila for 4 years and then gusto nila magkaroon ng trabaho, it's about time na makatulong sa kanilang magulang, kanilang mga kamag-anak. Ngayon, ang unang entry nila sa kanilang trabaho, magbabayad sila for several months or even a year.
Yes po.
Bago sila makatikim ng sweldo. Ang masakaw, pag ginagasgas sila, pinagtatrabaho ng overtime nang walang bayad at silang nagpapasweldo, kahit man lang pamirenda, pamasahe, wala. Yun yung point ko.
Yes, sir. So we are more willing to cooperate with your with your office po so that we could provide the necessary details, data, information about this kind of
So kung yun po ipatakaran, Mr. Chair, na mula sa CHED, then maybe it's about time we have to look into it at baguhin natin yung maling procedure na yun, maling sistema na yun, bulok na sistema if you will ask me.
Yes,
I'm sorry about that, ha?
thank you po.
Ikaw ba sang-ayon ka sa ganong sistema? Bulok na sistema? Are you with
Siyempre
that?
po hindi po,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you for your insights, Senator Tulfo. Maybe we can work hand in hand and enact a bill with regard to this problem of the physical therapist. Okay,
Sir, may I po? We have actually a bill filed in the House of Representatives about the Physical Therapy Act. It's a 58-year-old bill already po. So, law, I mean,
58-year-old
law that
bill.
supervises or that looks into the practice of physical therapy. And I
What
would
is
like
the status?
Sir, because of the election last year, hindi po kami nakaabot dito sa Senate po, but it was passed in the third hearing po sa lower house po. Sa
18th Congress?
Yes, in the 18th Congress.
So
And we
ngayon
have
po-
refiled it po. We have found a
Who is
author.
the author there?
The third district, the representative of the third district of Bohol, Congresswoman Alexi B. Tutor, who happens to be a physical therapist also. And we would like to also file a bill po and come up with a
Maybe
bill here po in the
I,
Senate.
together with Senator Tulfo, can co-author.
Thank you, sir. That's very welcome po. Thank you po. I'll get in touch po with your offices po.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last question before we proceed to the other topic. Which specific agency of the DOLE handles the affairs of the caregivers? Who can answer it? TESDA ba? O meron kayong ibang agency sa DOLE? Who handles the affairs of the caregivers?
Insofar as the regulation of this employment is concerned, the bureau in charge is the BLE,
BNE?
the Bureau of Local Employment.
A Bureau of Local Employment.
Yes, Senator.
Private employment agencies.
Regulating the private employment agency.
What is the position of the Bureau with regard to this bill?
We support, we fully support, Your Honor, this bill because this will enhance the protection of our workers and regularization.
Okay, thank you very much to all our resource persons, and I hope you can submit all your position papers by before Christmas or after New Year. After New Year, second week of January. Okay sa inyo? So I assure you, and with the support of our colleague, especially Senator Tulfo, I assure you that we will pass this particular bill next year. Hindi ko naman sinasabing, wala akong sinasabing buwan kasi next month, next year na. Okay? Basta rest assured that we will try our very best to pass this bill.
Sir, I just want to answer your question like earlier. So, sino po ba yung mga humahawak sa mga caregivers as of now? Ang mga caregivers po, may kanya-kanya po kasing association po yan. So, yung mga association po na iba, naka-registered po sa DTI, naka-registered po sa DOLE, naka-registered din po sa SEC. So, yung pong per association po kasi, sila po, kami po, for example, yung example ko na lang po yung aming association, Caregivers of the Philippines Association. Ang ginagawa po namin, meron po kaming page, tapos kapag meron pong nag-i-inquire po dun sa page namin na kailangan po nila ng client, ng caregiver. So, nire-refer po namin yung aming mga caregivers. So, hindi po kami kumukuha po ng anumang fees doon po sa mga client na pumunta po sa aming page. So, meron din po humahawak sa mga caregivers, yung mga agencies po, Sen. Yung mga agencies po, meron din pong hawak po, may hawak din po sila sa mga caregivers. Just like, Sir, yung mga sa hospital, meron din pong humahawak sa mga caregivers sa hospital. So sila na po mismo yung mga nagde-deploy po sa mga caregivers sa hospital po mismo. Yun po yung kalakaran po ng aming caregiving industry. That's why yung talagang sinusuportahan po namin talaga yung CWA para sa ganun may pasa na, kasi since 2014 po, wala pa pong hindi umuusad po yung aming bill. Kaya nakakaawa po yung ating mga caregivers dahil po hindi po sila nakakatanggap po ng 13-month pay na dapat sana ay meron po naman 13-month pay yung ating mga caregivers po. Yun lang po yung aking may dadagdag po, Sen.
Basta mag-submit na lang kayo ng
Opo.
additional position paper, ha?
Opo.
Okay, at this juncture, maybe we will have to proceed with the other topics, the Service Employment Act and the privilege speech of Senator Tulfo. Those who are not involved in the next topic may be excused. Thank you very much for coming. Dole will have to stay. Okay. So, okay, at this juncture, let us proceed to the second cluster of bills in our agenda, the Reservist Employment Act. It aims, among others, to protect the rights of the reservists, prevent and prohibit discrimination on the basis of rendering military service, and eliminate or minimize the disadvantages to civilian careers and employment. This bill is among the priorities of the Department of National Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Again, we will give our resource persons 3 minutes each to speak, and we will expect the details of their position in the paper that they will submit to the committee. Thereafter, we will give time to the members of the committee to ask their questions. Dole, any other, your position on this bill?
With the indulgence of the Undersecretary. Magandang hapon po, Mr. Chair, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Vice Chair, Senator Raffy Tulfo, to all the other members of the Senate present, and also the resource persons and guests. On the part of DOLE, Department of Labor and Employment fully supports Senate bills numbers 1228, 561, and 1556. Support the policies of the bills, which are to strengthen the citizen armed forces of the reserve force of the AFP, protect the rights of reservists, and prevent and prohibit discrimination on the basis of rendering military service to the state, and encouraging service in the AFP Reserve Force by eliminating or minimizing the disadvantages to civilian careers in employment which can result from rendering military service to the state. If we may just give our very minimal comments, Your Honors, may we respectfully raise minor comments for the kind consideration of this committee. Sa Section 4 po ng bill, sa definition po ng employment, nakalagay po, the act of hiring and continued engagement, including the reintegration of an employee called to military service to one's former position, or if not practicable, to a substantially equivalent position without loss of seniority rights and diminution of pay. Maybe our comment lang, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, if we could also add in the end, diminution of pay and benefits para po masama ang mga wage-related benefits na maprotektahan po. Also, Your Honor, in Section 7 po, dun po sa hiring of substitute employees, in the second paragraph of Yes, Your Honor. Section 7 po, the second paragraph, Senate Bill number 1228 po. Nakalagay po that the employment of substitute employee shall be deemed terminated upon the reintegration of the reservist employee. The employer or those acting in the interest of the employer may, however, consider the substitute employee for another position if practicable. Your Honors, if may kindly suggest na baka may added protection po na mabigay dun sa substitute employee sapagkat siya rin naman po ay nagtrabaho bilang isang empleyado, baka po pwede natin madagdagan na kung sakali po makonsider nyo po, kunwari po mabigyan po siya ng separation pay kapag matanggal po siya, depende po syempre sa tagal po ng kanyang serbisyo. So of course as of now we wouldn't be aware kung gaano katagal ang substitute employment, pero kung ating pong relate po ito sa authorized causes in the labor code kung saan nabibigyan ng separation pay ang mga employees na natatanggal sa employment, baka po pwede natin po isama sa ganong category. Ayun lang po, Your Honors. Salamat po.
Thank you, Asek Serrano. Yusek Madriaga.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair, the chairman of this committee, Senator Estrada, and the vice chairperson, Senator Tulfo, the honorable members of this committee, fellow workers in government. Good afternoon, and thank you for this opportunity. Sir, I would like to manifest the official position of the Department of National Defense regarding the Reservist Employment Rights Act, sir. Sir, the entire Philippine Defense Establishment strongly support the passage of Senate Bill number 561, 1228, and 1556, all entitled Reservist Employment Rights Act, seeking to prohibit discrimination in terms of employment or employment opportunities on account of membership, application, and service with the Reserve Force of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. We also agree that military service shall not be considered a break in the reservist employment. We also welcome the granting of the reservist, rendering military service compensation commensurate to their rank and consistent with the compensation of their counterparts in the regular force of the AFP. Moreover, the guarantee of reintegration into their civilian or professional employment without loss of seniority, rights, and diminution of pay or benefits afford them adequate sense of security while rendering the call of service. With over 1 million AFP Reserve Force members, the enactment of the Reserve Employment Rights Act will be significant in building on the gains and successes of the Philippine defense and security sector. And at the outset, sir, would like to thank the support of the DOLE for the passage of this act. But the Defense Department have minor concern, or not really minor, but only one concern. So regarding Section 14 and 16 of the House Bill as proposed, sir, it is our recommendation Section 14 and 16, sir, Senate Bill, sir. Yes, sir, as proposed. Sir, it is recommended that if military duty or training exceeds 7 days, it shall be recognized as authorized leave without pay on the part of the reservist employee and recognized as such by one's employer, sir.
Section 16 sabi.
Section 16.
Do you have a copy of the House bill?
Section 16 ng bill niya.
Not considering the House.
16 ng
So, 16 ang Senate bill.
This
Section
Senate bill-
16, sir.
Huh?
Section 16, sir.
Section 16? Because we are not tackling the House bill here.
It's the Senate bill, sir. Section 16.
Section 16, sir.
Yeah, Section 16 of my bill. In the House bill.
Yes. My apologies, sir.
We're in the Senate, we're not in the House.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sige.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much po, sir.
So what is your, what do you want to amend here?
Sir,
Regarding the
that,
military duty leave?
yes, sir. If the trainings or duty would exceed 7 days, sir, it shall be recognized as authorized leave without pay on the part of the reservist employee and recognized as such by one's employer, sir.
Okay. Any other?
For the part of the DND, sir,
Yes,
that's the only concern,
but-
sir.
The DND is supportive of this,
Very much supported
Okay.
po, sir.
Sige, Mr. Chair.
Senator Raffy?
Meron ba ditong, sino ba nag-handle or namamahala po sa ating mga reservists? Is that the DND or the AFP? Under what agency?
Ang reservist po, sir, is under po ng J9 ng
Nandito ba yung
Armed
J9?
Forces of the Philippines.
Wait,
May mga
okay.
representative po
My
yun.
question, yan, si Colonel Salvosac.
Yes.
Yung mga reservists po ba ay dapat ba o hindi kailangan mabigyan po ng allowance? And kapag meron po yung mga kalamidad na isa po sila sa mga tinatawag para mag-serve, dapat ho ba o hindi na kailangan sila po ay mabigyan ng sweldo o kahit man lang pamasahe o pagkain? Kasi ang balita ko po, karamihan sa mga reservists, wala po silang allowance at pag sila po ay tinawag para mag-duty, sa kanila po yung pamasahe, sa kanila po yung pagkain and all.
Good afternoon, sir. The good senator, sir. In behalf of our J9, Major General Romulo Manuel Jr., sir, I'm Colonel Rosel B. Salvosa, the Chief of the Reservist Training Division, sir. To answer your question, sir, under Section 50 of Republic Act 7077, which states that the training, equipage, maintenance of the reservists should be shouldered by the Major Service Command, sir. When they are deployed, sir, utilized for that matter during HRDR operations, they are provided by the major services in terms of the lease subsistence allowance, the clothing allowance, sir, and the laundry allowances, sir,
Then-
even when they are under training.
Okay, then we have a problem here kasi marami ako alam ng mga reservist, wala silang allowance. Kung meron pala silang allowance, sabi mo under RA, what is that?
Sir, it's not the pay and allowances, sir. It's only the, they call it La Casa, laundry allowance, clothing allowance, and
Yes,
subsistence
yes,
allowance.
whatever.
Yes.
Pero wala So saan napunta yung budget para sa laundry allowance, lakasa? So saan po napupunta yung lakasa? Isa yan. Pangalawa, pag nadideploy po yung mga reservists sa iba't ibang lugar para tumulong po sa mga kalamidad, wala pong binibigay sa kanilang pamasahe, wala pong binibigay kahit pagkain, sa kanila pa yung pagkain. So saan napupunta yung budget para doon?
Sir, it is downloaded to the Ready Reserve Unit, sir. The reserve commander should be responsible for the distribution of these
Very good.
allowances.
So I think it's about time na ma-informahan dapat lahat ng reservists because they don't know. They should be informed. They should be properly informed para malaman nila yung kanilang mga karapatan. Yung pala yung kanilang mga karapatan natatapakan na. Mukhang may nagbubulsa ata ng pera para sa kanila. Yung pera na para sa kanila, meron atang, pasensya na if I'll use this term, Mr. Chair, na kinukurakot.
We will look into that, sir, because we make it a point. In fact, sir, last July of this year, our reservists, majority of our reservists underwent training under our division, and they were given the subsistence allowance and the allowances that should be allotted them, sir.
So yung mga tao malapit sa inyo, kakilala nyo. Pero paano yung mga tao hindi nyo kakilala? Paano yung mga tao sa iba't ibang lugar na walang koneksyon, na regular reservist lang? I'm talking about a lot of reservists na ngayon nagkalat sa iba't ibang lugar sa Pilipinas na hindi po sila nakatanggap ng lakasa kung tinatawag nyo. Ni singkong duling, wala po silang tatanggap. Ang natatanggap lang nila is uniforme. Okay? Other than the uniform, wala na po. And then, again, ulitin ko po, kapag sila po na-deploy sa mga calamities, mag-respond sa mga calamities, they're on their own. Sa kanila po yung pamasahe at yung pagkain, sa kanila din po yun. Kung 3 days sila doon sa lugar na yon, yung kakainin nila doon, umaga, tanghali, gabi, sa kanila yun. Maliban na lang kung may magmamalasakit doon na taga-LGU, abutan sila na para mga pusa't aso, yun po yung kakainin nila, buto-buto. So, saan po yung budget na magmumula sa ating gobyerno na para sa kanila? Saan po napupunta yun?
Yes, sir. We can look into those, sir. But then again, sir, the Reserve Force Development right now is on the event of looking into the budget for the Reserve Force. Maliit lang po kasi talaga ang na-allocate sa Reserve Force Development.
Well, maliit o malaki, ang importante sa akin, makarating sa kanila yung pera para
Yes,
sa kanila.
sir. Yes, sir.
Kahit na sabihin pa natin 10 centimos lamang ang allowance nila, nakasaad sa batas na they should receive 10 cents per month. They should receive that because pera nila yun. At hindi po dapat napupunta kung kani-kaninong bulsa.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you have to make sure.
Yes,
And I would like you, Mr. Chair, na mag-submit siya ng report sa atin from now on, disseminated itong information sa lahat ng reservists at lahat ng reservists dapat makatanggap na from now on at this very point ng allowance na para sa kanila at hindi dapat binubulsa kung sino-sinong Poncio Pilato. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Salamat po,
I
ma'am.
agreed on that, sir.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Meron pa ba sa inyo gusto magbigay ng statement? Attorney Gakutan?
Sorry, Colonel, hindi tayo magkaaway dito. Ang kaaway ko yung bulok na sistema. I'm not mad at you. Ganun talaga ako. Pag meron na api pag may naaping tao, sumisiklab talaga ako sa galit. Pero it's not about you, okay? Sorry.
Masyado lang passionate si Senator Raffy. Yes, Yusek Padraga.
Sir, the Department of National Defense appreciates, sir, yung concern ni Senator Tulfo, sir. Sir, if we can get the details of those, yung mga ganong sitwasyon, sir, so that we can, on our own,
Kasi sir, kung ibigay ko sa pangalan ng mga complaint at babalikan nyo,
Hindi,
of
sir.
course, do your research.
Yes, sir. I mean, kahit specific na lugar, date lang, sir. Kahit wala yung
No, sir.
pangalan ng tao,
No, sir. Kasasabi lang niya, yung lakasa. Titingnan nyo na lang po kung
Yes, sir.
saan napupunta yon, kung yun ay nabibigay sa mga tao. Tingnan nyo po yung mga pirma. Yung mga pirma ba, dinoktor o talagang sila ba yun? Kasi if you will ask for the information of those people who complain na nakausap ko, pwede nyo balikan. Baka mamaya bubugbugin pa. Baka mamaya masalvage pa.
Wala naman po.
Hindi, sabi ko lang yun. Hindi, example lang yun. Pero much better if you'll do it on your own because you have your resources na pwede nyo pong ma-research kung sino-sino yung mga tao hindi nabibigyan. Yung mga reservists ninyo, alam nyo naman po yung mga bilang noon. And then, imamatch nyo lang po, cross-checking. Okay, ito si Juan. Okay, ito yung kanyang allowance dapat na ibigay ba sa kanya, pumirma ba siya, etc. etc. Tama po ba?
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
I agree, sir. Ano lang, sir, depende po kasi sa kung anong klaseng deployment po, sir. Kung for HADR po kasi normally, yung ano nila is under OCD po yon. But kung training po at saka mobilization na kami nagpatawag, yung pong lakas is talaga nabibigay po sa kanila yon. Sigurado po yon. But we will look
Kung
into-
nabibigay siya, so that's why kung sabi
Yes,
niya
sir.
bibigay, gusto ko pong makita yung mga pirma nila
Sige
with
po.
ID and all at mabiverify namin kung talagang sila yung pumirma at hindi ito yung mga ghost na mga reservists, pinapirma lang kung sino-sino para makatanggap ng pera na hindi dapat napupunta sa kanila. Gusto ko napupunta talaga sa mga tunay na reservists, legit reservists. Sir, matagal na pong pang-api ang nangyari sa ating mga reservists. Buti nga po na brought up ito. I thank our honorable colleague, Mr. Chair, si Senator Jingo Estrada, because ito yung pagkakataon ko na para mailabas to. Maraming taon na nakalipas, ito po yung aking dinidibdib, kinikimkim, na naapi po yung ating mga reservists. And I want this reservists be given justice at yung kanilang pera na para sa kanila dapat po maibigay at hindi po dapat binubulsa. Salamat po, Yusek.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank
Sir, we assure, sir, that we will look into this, sir. We will direct the Armed Forces of the Philippines to look into this case,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Thank
Thank you
you, sir.
very much po, sir.
Thank you
And may I request for a report on the disbursement of funds with regard to the reservists, yung mga allocation ng mga reservists. Bigyan nyo na lang kami ng report ng disbursement ng funds. Okay? Attorney Gakutan?
Good afternoon, Your Honors. On the part of the Department of Finance, we recognize the objective of the bill, which is to protect the employment rights of the reservists. However, Your Honor, so far the department has only one comment found in Section 14 of SB 1228 and SB 1556, Your Honor. On the tax benefits and incentives provision, Your Honor, we noticed that the proposed tax benefits or incentives are not explicitly stated, Your Honor, in the provision. Nevertheless, Your Honor, in case that it be explicitly provided in the said section, we respectfully recommend that it be aligned or be consistent with the existing tax laws, Your Honor. Nevertheless, just to add, Your Honor, we reserve the right to submit our formal position paper, Your Honor.
Can you please submit your formal position paper early next year?
Yes, Your Honor.
For the second week of January.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank
We
you.
submit.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I understand all of our resource persons are supportive of this particular bill. Any other comment from the armed forces? Lieutenant Colonel Paya.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
You're also a reservist.
No, sir. I am assigned with the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel J1,
Okay.
catering the personal services of regular officers and enlisted personnel, sir.
Any comment with regard to this bill?
No, sir.
Okay. So since all of you are supportive of this bill, may I request all of you to submit your respective position papers by the second week of January, so we can schedule a technical working group and finally push for the passage of these particular bills.
Sumerayap. Sa ano po siya sa caregiver siya sa may
No,
Philippines.
no.
Update lang po siya dahil yung antigen niya hindi na.
Tapos na. Anyway, at this juncture, since we only have 30 minutes before our session, I would like to proceed to the last topic of this meeting, the privilege speech of Senator Tulfo, and those who are not involved in this in the privilege speech of Senator Tulfo, you're now excused. Thank you very much. Kasama pa kayo, no? Dole.
Bilang po ang huli.
Ay, thank you. Salamat. Ako na ngayon. Ako na. Okay, at this juncture, we will now proceed with the third and last topic, the privilege speech of Senator Raffy Tulfo that was delivered on November 22. Comsec, can you please acknowledge the presence of our resource persons? Sila, no? Yung mga cashiers.
Mr. Chair, pwede makasingit muna?
Yeah.
Okay,
Senator
Mr. Chair, since no representative of Landmark is present today, despite several attempts from our end and from this committee to invite them, I move that a subpoena be issued, number one, to the president of any authorized representative. Number two, the security officer Juanito Talod to secure their appearance on the next hearing in accordance with the Senate rules. The known address is 4th floor, Landmark Building, Makati Avenue, Ayala Center, Makati. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before that, Senator Raffy, the committee is in receipt of a letter from Landmark and addressed to this representation. And if I may read this for the record. Dear Senator Estrada, we express our sincere appreciation to you for having invited the Landmark Corporation to be a part of your honorable committee's hearing on December 12, 2022 through your letters dated December 6, 2022. We understand the importance of the hearing to shed light on the various issues raised by Senator Raffy Tulfo in his privileged speech last November 22, 2022 regarding the former cashiers of Landmark. These issues are primarily the subject of several cases pending before the Department of Labor and Employment, particularly letter A, Erica Joy David Bendicho versus the Landmark, Enrique Cheng, LRC case number so and so. Letter B, in the matter of the request for conciliation filed by Noeline Ediola et al. And letter C, in the matter of routine inspection conducted at Landmark Department Store and Supermarket, desk officers Isobel Batulay and Louis Ann Abello. Considering the complex legal issues involved, Landmark deems it necessary to seek external legal representation. Unfortunately, Landmark is still in the process of finding legal representation and will not be able to send its representative to the committee hearing scheduled today at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hopefully, Landmark will be extended another invitation should the Honorable Committee decide to reschedule the hearing to a later date. Landmark is fully committed to upholding workers' rights and the rule of law and assures the Honorable Committee of its full support and cooperation. Thank you for your time and understanding. Very truly yours for the company, the Landmark Corporation, Maria Concepcion Espiritu, Human Resources Department Manager. Okay, COMSEC is instructed to invite all those mentioned by Senator Tulfo in our next hearing with regard to the privileged speech
So,
of
sabina po yan, Mr. Chair. Or another invitation? Because we've been inviting them again and again and again and they're just stalling, Mr. Chair. At parang binabastos po nila yung ating pong committee rito.
Yung mga pinakikapuan at na-invite yung mga
Well, then can we send a subpoena to anybody sa Landmark? Anybody from Landmark? Because we already sent an invitation to them, so maybe it's a subpoena will suffice. Because not only invitation from this committee, Mr. Chair, even from my office, we've been communicating with them and telling them that there's going to be a hearing and that they must attend to get this to give their side, but they failed to do so. Parang sinasadya po ata nila, Mr. Chair, ni-stall nila. But anyway, I'd love to see them in the next hearing and to hear their side. Pero dito po nakikita ko they're just stalling, Mr. Chair. Now, if I can...
With all due respect to Senator Raffy, the persons that you mentioned hasn't received any invitation yet from this committee. So the next hearing, we will still have to issue an invitation. And if they do not appear upon our invitation in the next hearing, then that is the time that we will issue a subpoena.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now, Mr. Chair, I would like to give one of our complainant the opportunity to talk and to tell us her story and on behalf also of
Pwede kayo
other
lumipat
colleagues.
dito. Pwede kayo lumipat para...
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Senator Raffy.
what Landmark did is a shameless act to the highest degree. Dito po, nag-apply yung sinasabing ang mayaman lalo nagpapayaman, ang mahirap lalo naging mahirap. In this case, yung mayaman ang isang kumpanya o isang amo dahil sa kanyang pagnanakaw, paglapastangan sa kanyang mga pobre naghihikahos na mga empleyado. Hindi na nahiya ang kakapal na muka. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. And Mr. Chair, nasa harap po natin itong si Miss Erica Joy Buendicho. Siya po yung original complainant ko. And then after I heard her complaint, nagkasanga-sanga na at marami ng complainant na nagsilutangan. Miss Erica, good afternoon. And
Good afternoon po.
Kailangan ba? Pwede bang under oath kayo? Secretary, please administer the oath.
Please rise. Pakitaas lang po ang inyong kanang kamay. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this investigation of the Committee on Labor? Pakisagot lang po ng yes.
Yes po.
Thank you. Please take your seat.
Okay, Miss Erica, briefly, please. Ilang taong ka na?
20 years old po.
Okay, so, tiga?
Taga Quezon Province po ako pero dito po ako sa Makati ngayon po nakatira.
Anong branch ng landmark ka nagtatrabaho?
Makati po.
Makati. O sige, pwede mo mong ihayag sa amin kung anong ginawa sa iyo?
Yes po. Naging cashier po ako sa Landmark Makati simula po October 17 hanggang October 25, 2022 po. Noong October 2022 po, 8 days ko pa lang po noon. Nung alas 3 po ng hapon, pinatawag po ako nung supervisor ko, naka-duty po ako noon. Hindi na po niya ako pinagkaha. Tapos kinausap po niya ako, sabi po...
Teka, Erica. Kailan ka na-employ sa Landmark?
October 17 po.
As cashier right away? Kahira ka kagad?
Opo. Training ko po 5 days. Simula po October 17 hanggang October 23. 22 po.
So kailan ka naging kahira? October
17 po, cashier na po ako nun. Pero yung 5 days po training, pero, 5 days diba training? 5 days po training, pero cashier na po ako nun.
Sige. Pagpatuloy mo lang.
Sige po. Noong October 25 po, alas 3 po yung hapon, pinatawag po ako ng supervisor ko. Tapos kinausap po niya ako, sabi po niya, ano daw po nangyari? May pinakita po siya sa akin, scratch paper lang po maliit. May nakalagay po doon yung shortage ko. Sabi niya, ano po nangyari? Bakit may short ka ng 4,993.71? Yun po yung sabi niya sa akin. Yun po, shortage ko po kahapon. Kinabukasan lang po niya sinabi sa akin, may ganun po akong shortage. Na ganun po kalaki. So nagulat po ako kasi kinabukasan lang po niya sinabi sa akin. Tapos, wala po silang...
Teka, hindi ba kayo nag-inventaryo? Kada palis ka na, hindi kayo nag-inventaryo?
Ano po, nire-recount lang po namin yung pera sa accounting po. Tapos yung binilang ko pong pera, i-recount lang po nun sa treasury. Tapos, kung tama po yung bilang ko, papauwiin na po kami. Kaya akala ko po, kampante po ako na wala pa akong shortage nun. Tapos nung
Hindi kayo
kinabukasan...
pinapipirma ng kahit hindi kayo pinapipirma?
Yung tally sheet. Meron po. So yun po, pinapirma po ako yung nirimit ko pong pera, pinapirma po ako nila noon. Tapos pinauwi na po nila ako. Nung kinabukasan po, nagulat po ako, bigla po ako pinatawag, tapos may shortage daw po ako ng ganun po kalaki. So sabi po niya sa akin, i-recall ko daw po yung transaction ko nung araw po na yun, nung nagka-shortage po ko. So ni-recall ko po yung lahat, kasama po yung checker, kinausap rin po nila. Sabi ko po, maayos po ako magkaha. Sinabi rin po ng checker ko, maayos ako magkaha. Sabi na po ng supervisor ko, sabi niya sa akin, maayos ka namang magkaha. Tapos yun po, inantay po namin yung audit sa accounting. Tapos sabi po nila, wala daw pong mali sa transaction ko. So nagtaka po ako doon, sabi ko, kung wala po palang mali doon sa transaction ko lahat sa customer, bakit po ako mag-short ng ganun po kalaki? Tapos yun po, pagkatapos po nun, yung counter manager naman po yung nakausap ko. Sabi po nila sa akin, ano nga daw po nangyari? Umamin daw po ako para daw po matulungan nila ako. So, inulit-ulit ko po sinabi ko, tapos yung checker, kinausap rin po nung counter manager. So, maayos naman po yung pagkaha ko. Sabi po niya sa akin, sige na, umamin ka, natutulungan ka namin. Yun po yung sabi sa akin ng counter manager. Sabi ko, yun po ma'am, sinabi ko naman po yung nangyari po. Tapos, pinipilit po niya akong paaminin. Sabi niya, umamin ka na, nasan nga yung 5,000 nawawala? Yun po yung sabi niya sa akin. Sabi ko, ma'am, wala po talaga sa akin yung pera. Yun po yung sabi ko. Sabi niya, sige, pag di ka umamin, papadala kita sa security office. Yun po yung sabi niya sa akin. Sabi ko, sige po ma'am. Tapos yun po, pinadala po niya ako sa security office. Kasama ko
Ano
po yung
pangalan nito supervisor mo?
Gemma Monar po.
Gemma?
Monar.
Nagtatrabaho pa rin sa Makati Landmark.
Opo.
Okay, ComSec is instructed also to invite this particular person, Gemma Munar.
Yes po.
Okay.
Tapos yun po, nung pagpunta po namin sa security office po, kasama ko po yan si supervisor po, si Ma'am Gemma Monar, saka po yung 2 security guard. So pinagtitinginan po sa akin yung mga tao kasi nga may kasama po akong supervisor saka security guard. So dinedma ko lang po kasi wala naman po akong kasalanan. Sumama po ako doon sa security office. Tapos pagpasok ko po doon, kinausap po ako ng head ng security, sabi ano daw po nangyari. Sabi ko, nag-short daw po ako ng 4,993.71. Tapos tinanong po niya yung supervisor, sabi, sino nagpadala sa kanya dito? Sabi po niya, yung manager po, sabi, sige, iwan mo na kami dito ng 2. Tapos pagkatapos po noon, kami lang po yung nag-usap ng security office, doon po sa, yun nga po sa office. Tapos tinanong po niya lahat ng information, personal information ko po. Yung trabaho ko po, ng tanay at tatay ko, ng asawa ko po. Tapos yun po, sinabi po niya sa akin kung may anak daw po ako. Sabi ko, opo, meron po. Kaya sabi po niya sa akin, kaya mo pala yung nagawa kasi may anak ka. Because sir, wala po talaga sa akin yung pera. So ginajudge na po niya talaga sa akin na kinuha ko po yung pera. Sabi ko po, sir, kahit po ipariwind mo sa CCTV. Sabi niya, wala kaming CCTV, hindi gumagana. Na napaka-imposible naman po kasi ang tagal na po nila nag-ooperate, wala po silang CCTV. Tapos ang laki po ng establishment po, di ba, nila. Tapos wala po silang CCTV. Tapos sa
May interrupt, mabilis lang. At nung humingi ka ng ebidensya na ikaw ay nag-short, anong sinabi sa'yo?
wala daw po silang CCTV, hindi daw po.
Bukod that, they did mention about confidential.
Ay, opo, confidential daw po. Wala po silang, pati incident report, wala po silang ginawa. Ano
So
po?
lahat daw po ng mga ebidensya na meron silang hawak to prove na siya ay na-short ay confidential, hindi pwede ipakita sa kanila. Yan yung sinabi mo sa akin noon, right?
Hindi ko po alam. Yun po yung sinasabi, yun din po yung sinabi sa kanila. Confidential daw po, sa kanila lang daw po yun. So po yun, sabi ko po, kahit po human witness, wala daw po sila. Kasi may frisking po kami, 3 po. Sobrang higpit po na frisking nila. Kakapkapan po kami sa bra, sa dito pa hanggang sa iba. Wala po kaming cycling, kinakapkapan po nila. Sabi ko, doon pa lang po, sobrang higpit po doon. Wala naman po silang, sabi ko, may nakita po ba kayong pera sa akin? Wala po. Di ba? Wala po. Pinatawag po nila yung security office po yung security guard po nag-frisking sa akin. Sabi po niya, wala daw po talaga siya nakita sa akin pera. Pero, yun po, nung pinatawag po siya, pinilit na po niya akong gumawa ng statement nun eh. Kaya sabi niya, isususpend daw po niya. Tapos nung nakaraang araw po, nag-chat po sa akin yung security guard, sabi po niya, pinapabago daw po yung statement sa kanya nung head security na si Juanito Tanod-Tanod, na sabihin daw po na may nakita daw po siyang pera sa akin. Tapos yun po, pagkatapos po nun, kinuha po nila yung sahod ko nung 8 days, 5 days training, saka po yung 3 days ko po as cashier po. Bali, 4,576 po. Sabi po nila, may kulang pa daw po akong 471. So, magbabayad pa po ako ng 500. Kukunin na po nila yung buong sahod ko, pag magbabayad pa daw po ako ng 500 pesos. Tapos, dinismiss din po nila ako ng araw na yun at may theft po na kaso na nakalagay.
Kinasuha ka pa?
Opo.
Hirap po yung buhay niya dito mga tanglang dito.
So, nung kinasuha ka, anong ginawa mo? Anong legal remedy ng ginawa mo?
Ang sabi po nila sa...
Nag-file ka ba sa NLRC?
Opo, sa una po sa DOLE, hindi po sila nakipag-settle doon, hindi po nila tinanggal yung kaso na theft. Yun po yung gusto ko pong mangyari, tanggalin po yung kasong theft kasi wala naman po silang ebidensya na kinuha ko po talaga yung pera. Tapos yung wala po
Singit. Okay, we'll run out of time. Sa DOLE, ano pong ginawa ninyo nung matanggap niyo yung reklamo niya? Anong action ang ginawa po ng DOLE natin?
NLRC kayo, no?
NLRC po
Okay.
siya.
Tanong ko lang, ano yung status ng kaso ni Erica Joy sa NLRC?
Ngayon po, nakaset po yung
No,
kaso.
I'm sorry ma'am. Hindi, nagreklamo na siya sa DOLE. At that time kasi, employed pa siya eh. So yung tapos na employment, papasok po yung NLRC. Ang gusto ko malaman, kasi ganito po yan eh, may nagreklamo sa DOLE na ibinalik yung pera, right? Isa sa inyo. Pero yung sa iba, hindi na binalik. So ang tanong ko, nung magreklamo si Miss Erica Joy sa DOLE, doon sa ginawa sa kanya, paglalapastangan sa kanya at pagbibintang at nilagay pa na theft doon sa record na wala may ebidensya, ano pong ginawang aksyon ng DOLE?
Anong reklamo mo sa doon?
Illegal dismissal po.
Kung illegal dismissal po, sir, dadaan po yan sa SENA at saka sa NLRC.
Hindi, pero ang ibig sabihin po, nung magreklamo siya, sinabi niya na siya ay pinagbintangang magnanakaw at nilagay doon theft sa record niya sa DOLE, ano pong ginawa ninyo? Hindi naman talaga illegal dismissal agad na reklamo niyo, di ba? Isa sa mga complaint niyo, medyo complaint yung bang pinagbintangang kay nagnakaw na hindi naman.
Illegal dismissal lang po yung pina-file po sa akin sa DOLE.
Pina-file, sino nag-utos sa'yo mag-file ng illegal dismissal? Sino nagturo sa iyo?
Yun pong sa DOLE.
Yun po yung sinasabi ko. Kasi each time, sa DOLE, palagi illegal dismissal. Para bang naka-format na. Hindi po dapat. Dapat, doon pa muna mag-concentrate doon sa pagbibintang sa kanya bilang isang magnanakaw na hindi naman na nakakasira ng kanyang record. It will stay in her record for a long time hanggat hindi siya na-absuelto sa nananalo sa NLRC, and which we know sa NLRC, it takes years. So dapat doon pa lang, na-correct na agad yung problema, saka natin pag-usapan yung whether yung tama yung pagka-illegal dismissal o hindi. Yung sa records niya muna, yung bang reaksyon doon sa nakaw sa kanyang pera. Siya ang ninakawan dito. Dapat naging swift ang naging aksyon po ng DOLE natin.
Dalawang kaso yun, sir, Senator Raffy. Yung una, pag illegal dismissal, talagang sa NLRC po yan. Ang DOLE wala pong ginagawa, kundi ibigay kasi adjudicatory na yan eh.
You're listening but you're not hearing, sorry, you're listening but you're not hearing me, Yusek. Again, ulitin ko. Pupunta siya doon sa DOLE, may problema siya. Ang problema niya, illegal dismissal. Yan daw tinuro sa kanya sa DOLE. Galing mismo sa kanya, not from my mouth. Yun ang turo sa kanya, i-file mo ng illegal dismissal. However, ang pinaka-problema niya talaga, hindi naman illegal dismissal. Ang problema niya talaga, pinabintangan siyang theft. Did you not hear it? Sandali lang po, sir. Na nilagay doon sa record niya, sa DOLE, na siya magnanakaw. It will stay there as long as hindi siya makiklear. And then number 2, yung perang nawala sa kanya na gusto niya bawiin, yun lang po Kung inaibigay na sa kanya sana, kung na-address agad yung problema, hindi na natin kailangan pa pumunta sa NLRC para sa illegal dismissal na yan. So, meron nga nangyaring isang pagkakataon na isa sa kanila nagreklamo, naibigay po, naibalik yung pera, tapos hindi na kailangan pang dumaan sa napakahabang proseso sa NLRC, and we're just talking 4,000, ba't kinakailangan pang pupunta sa NLRC na abutin ng taon-taon? Doon pa lang dapat sa inyo sa DOLE na solve nyo ng problema. At saka isa pa sir, sandali lang po. Sana sir, nung marinig niyo yung ganong klaseng problema, you should have asked her, ilan ba kayo ang may ganitong klaseng problema? Nang sa gayon, makapagdala po kayo ng inspektor doon at mag-imbestiga at patatawag niyo po agad yung landmark. Kasi sir, 1,000 lang, 5,000 pinag-usapan tapos dadalhin pa natin. Yung sa kanila, masoli lang po. Kasi yun talaga Sir, 6 days lang tama? 8 days o 6 days?
8 days po.
8 days lang po pinag-usapan natin na trabaho niya. So doon sa 8 days, okay na sa kanya sir na mawala siya. Ang gusto lang niya, maalis yung record, tama, na theft, at maibalik po yung perang ikinaltas sa kanya na hindi dapat. Yun po yun Ang ginawa niyo sir, pinahaba niyo ng proseso, ibinato niyo po sa NLRC na alam niyo, abutin po ng taon-taon. Siguro po, tinatamad na po kayo dyan sa DOLE, gusto niyo agad mahugas ng kamay, may transfer yung problema, responsibilidad sa NLRC. Kaya nga nagkakaroon ng tambak-tambak na kaso, naging overwhelmed ang NLRC. Next time, sir, meron pong inirefer na kaso sa inyo, you have to listen kung ano po yung pinaka-main problema. Huwag po lahat ng problema puro illegal dismissal. Lahat po ng problema inilalapit po sa DOLE, Mr. Chair, palaging illegal dismissal. At hindi naman talaga yun ang pinaka-problema kung tutuusin ng mga manggagawa. Tulad na lang ito, hindi naman talaga illegal dismissal ang problema nila. Ang problema nila, binintangan silang magnanakaw, at the same time, gusto lang nila mabawi yung pera. As simple as that. Pag naibigay na sa kanila yung tapos na. Wala na NLRC doon. Which you could have intervened.
Siguro what Senator Tulfo was trying to point out is that bago pa umabot sa NLRC, dapat nagawa niya na po ng aksyon. So, siguro you should have called the attention of the officials of Landmark para tanungin kung ano bang talaga nangyari. At dapat dun na lang sa level ninyo, dapat naayos nyo na yung problema nitong ating mga problema.
Mr. Chair, kasi marami akong karanasan. Kung sa akin lang ito lumapit noon, the first time, kasi tapos na matagal na nasolve ko na to. Hindi na kailang pupunta sa NLRC. Ang dami kong kaso. Kita ko sa mga kaso, si Yusek Gargo Jr. Ang dami kong mga kaso na nasosolve ko. Kinasnap of a finger. Huwag ko yung employer, patatawag ko yung dole, right there and then, naayos. Pero sa iyo, dadali mo pa sa NLRC? Kaya palang katambak-tambak na yung mga kaso sa NLRC. Kahit na maliliit na bagay, kailan pa NLRC? No, don't, please. Marami mga kaso na pwedeng solvein at your level pa lamang. Ba't kinakailan pa maghugas kamay kaya't ipasa? Sa cases nila, kung nag-uumpisa pa lamang, lumapit sila sa akin. Nasoli na sana ang pera nila. Hindi na kailan pa illegal dismissal. Na ngayon ay pupunta sa NLRC na it will take years. Dahil lamang sa 4,000, 5,000, 10,000 at the most. NLC pa? Come on, Yusek. I'm sorry, I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad at the system that you put in place para ayusin mga problema. Sorry. Better luck next time. Pag lumapit po kayo dito, kailangan siguro pag-isipan nyo ng mabuti because hindi nyo ako kaya. I've been doing this for more than 2 decades. At alam ko po yung mga kabulukang sistema nangyari po sa DOLE maging sa NLRC. So hindi nyo ako pwedeng paikutin. I'm sorry, sir. Next time. Better luck next time, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Commissioner Daitia, pwede malaman yung status ng kaso ni Erica?
Good afternoon po, Your Honors. Presently po yung case po ni Miss Erica ay under conciliation and mediation. Natapos na po yung first mediation nung December 6 at nakaset po ulit ito bukas. Opo, December 13. December 13 po, tomorrow.
Okay.
At tanong ko lang, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
tanong ko, okay. Now, yung kaso nila ay ilang araw lang silang kapagtrabaho at 6,000 lamang ang perang gusto sa nila masingil. Para sa opinion niyo po, kayo dyan sa NLRC, dapat ba ito i-refer sa inyo? O dapat sa DOLE pa lang na-solve na ito? Ano sa palagay niyo? Huwag kayo mahiya, huwag kayo matakot. Nandito ako, sanggayin kita.
Senator, sa aking palagay po kasi sa paglapit po siguro ni Miss Erica sa DOLE, yun nga po ang kanyang binanggit. Ito ay tungkol sa kanyang pera or siguro sa kanilang pag-uusap, baka naisip doon ng kausap niya na tinanggal siya, nagrereklamo siya at nasabi sa kanya na, kung may tungkol yan sa iyong illegal dismissal, dapat sa NLRC ka kasi sila ang may jurisdiction. Yun po ang posibleng nangyari, kaya napunta sa amin yung kaso.
So kahit piso lang yung kaso, yung NLRC pa rin, illegal dismissal, kahit na piso lang na nawala.
Actually, Your Honor, kasi po talaga, when it comes to question of illegal dismissal, talagang kami po ang nagde-determine. And all other things, kung meron pong mediation and conciliation, maaari naman po talagang pag-usapan kung in-exert talaga ang effort.
Kaya madam, yun, nagsasayang tayo ng resources at oras ng ating mga taga-gobyerno. Kapag kaya may solve po, maliit lang na bagay, solve na natin, huwag natin palakin pa, huwag natin stretch pa, punta pa kung saan departamento, SENA, mediation, etc. Ako nga po, hindi naman sa hindi sa pagbubuhat ng bangko. Ang dami ko na po mga nasusolve ng mga kaso na hindi na po dumaan sa NLRC dahil napaaga pong pagsumbong sa akin. Nag-cooperate po yung DOLE, nag-cooperate po yung employer. Right there and then, nababayaran. Millions of pesos pang pinag-usapan natin dito na nasusolve ko. Diba? Hindi na ako yung nagpo-Poncio Pilato na ipapasa pong kanina-kanina. That's my point. Kapag may lumapit po sana sa atin, tayo mga taga-gobyerno, huwag na ho tayo maghugas ng kamay. We should do everything in our power na para kung kaya natin masolve yung problema, mag-refer, mawag tayo sa mga agencies na makatulong sa atin. Solve yung problema right there and then, pilisin natin kasi ang kawawa dito yung mga manggagawa. Magkano lang po mga sweldo nila? Kawawa po. Ang liit na ng sweldo. Galing pa ng probinsya, pumunta rito for a good life, for a better life. Pero yung buhay nila, nagiba. Pinalabas sila magnanakaw. Nasa record na ni Erica na siya'y magnanakaw. Andun sa record ng DOLE. And I want that erased, Mr. Yusek. I want that erased. Yung record niya sa DOLE na pinail nitong kumpanya na siya ay nagnakaw, I want that erased. Otherwise, they have to prove na talagang nagnakaw itong si Erica sa korte at ang korte nag-prove na siya nagnakaw beyond reasonable doubt. Only then, if not, if they cannot produce that document, then I want that erased right now. Na siya nagnakaw na hindi naman. Masakit po yun.
Saan record ba na, saan bang record na binigay mo sa Dole na dapat ma-erase natin? Nagreklamo ka ba sa Dole? Nagbigay ka ba ng papel na o nagdiretso ka sa nila?
Yung pong notice of dismissal ko kasi, theft po yung nakalagay. Tapos, yung pong sa Dole na po, pinapatanggal ko po yun sa kanila pero hindi po nila tinanggal.
Hindi pa siguro dahil nagme-mediation pa kayo eh. Yun ang proseso po, ma'am eh. I
Hindi
mean,
po sa Dole po.
pwede nating baliwalain ang batas, pero batas ko, may batas kasi po yan, ma'am. Nagme-mediation pa kayo. Kaya siguro kung mapatunayan na, kasi yung theft po, Sir Raffy, criminal case po yan. Ngayon, wala pong jurisdiction.
Alam mo, Yusek, kung nag-imbestiga lang sana kayo, hindi na po kayo umabot sa prosesong darating po sa NRC. Sana pinatawag niyo pong both sides. Napakasimple lang eh. Nasang ebidensya niyo na nagnakaw to. Pag wala kang ebidensya din, wala kang basihan, ibabasura namin itong pinagsasabi niyo dito ngayon sa amin na nagnakaw to. Kasi unang-una, saan ka nakita na dapat yung pag-auditing sa harap po nitong cashier? Okay, hindi po ako cashier, okay? Pero alam ko po dapat, bilang isang cashier, kapag ikaw ay na-short, sasabihin sa harap-harapan, magbibilang sa harap mo on that same very day ng duty mo, bago ka mag-off ng duty mo, bibilangan ka, okay, short ka, cashier, ito yung short mo, ito yung mga bagay na nag-short ka. Right there and then, ang nangyari, kinabukasan pa, and then when she was asking, they were asking for pieces of evidence to show na talagang sila short. Ang sabi sa kanila, confidential. Tama? O, doon pa lang sana kung pinatawag niyo yung Dole at nagharap-harapan at nag-usap-usap kayo, doon pa lang na-solve na yung problema. Hindi niyo ginawa, lumaki hanggang sa pupunta sa NRC. Baka sa NRC yung problema. Maliit na problema na lumaki.
Okay, Commissioner Detia, itong mga ibang complainants, pwede ba malaman yung status ng kaso nila sa NLRC?
Senator, ang alam ko lang po na kinaso ay yung kay Miss Erica, pero narinig ko po kanina na sinabi nyo, request for mediation, yun po ay sa Sena po namin. Yun po ay, kagaya nga po sa rules of procedure po namin, bago po maisampa ang kaso, nagkakaroon po talaga ng conciliation and mediation.
Okay.
Okay, last na naman, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Again, I would like to reiterate my desire na matanggal po kasi wala nang tatanggap sa kanyang employer. Pag nag-apply siya, hihingi ng referral o reference sa kumpanya, i-refer sa Dole. Mag-research yung kumpanya, kasi cashier, sensitive yan, gumagawa ng malalang research, makikita doon sa record niya, hindi na siya makapagtrabaho as a cashier because nandun na, mansyado na, theft, and I want that erased. Gawa natin ng paraan, Mr. Chair, na I want that erased. Kawawa itong mga pobre. Pinagbintangan na hindi managnakaw, masakla pa, pinagbibintang na nagnakaw, sila pala yung magnanakaw.
Any other comments? Siguro, I urge the NLRC, those handling the cases of these ladies here, to act swiftly and fairly. Na yung dapat yung katotohanan ng lumabas.
Yes po, Senator. Yes po.
Thank you.
And due to lack of material time, with all due respect to all our resource persons, I would like to instruct our COMSEC to invite those mentioned by Senator Tulfo on the next hearing. I will schedule it on January 30 at 1 o'clock p.m. That's January 30. Kasi ang resumption natin is January 23.
Gusto ko, Mr. Chair, na makaharap nito sila, mga
Yes.
complainant, maging ako, I would like to look them in the eye to eye.
Particularly Mr. Juanito Tanod-Tanod,
Yes.
Security Officer of Landmark, and Gemma Munar, the counter manager of Landmark Makati. Erica, Landmark Makati to? Landmark Makati. Okay. And all those officials concerned dito sa Landmark.
So, Mr. Chair, pwedeng pababalikin ko ulit yung mga
Yes.
complainant.
On January 30 at 1 o'clock, Monday. And all of those invited here, we will also invite you on the next hearing. Okay? Thank you very much for coming. A session is hereby suspended.